Welcome to the Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. I got a question in email, and we know that this is around the time when people are doing their taxes and they're trying to get all their stuff together with their businesses, all of that. So I wanted to go over some things that this individual asked about. They asked about net profit, net loss, because they're new to the self-employment tax game and all of that. I am not a tax professional by any means, but I wanted to go over the definitions of some important things to keep in mind so that you can, be on your game. Now, honestly, you can do all these things yourself. You can use QuickBooks, to get all your stuff together. The company Intuit, I think, actually bought QuickBooks some years ago, and they just do it all. They absolutely do it all. I put somebody onto it earlier this week. So here are some of the things that we're going to talk about as far as things having to do with profit and loss and all of that. So we're going to talk about 4 things. You're going to talk about net profit, net loss, profit margin, and cash flow. All right. So I'm covering these 4 things because I think that they're important to stay on top of so you can know exactly where your business is at all times from the financial standpoint. So net profit this is your bottom line. Okay. Net profit is what you take in as revenue less all of your expenses. So if you have subscriptions to things that help you run your business, that could be your cell phone. It could be subscriptions to maybe Adobe. If you're a person who does a lot of graphics, you may have subscriptions to different graphic programs and things like that. So net profit, that is your revenue. So the actual money that you bring in, your take home after all of the expenses have been paid. So that is your profit, right? If you are a self-employed person, you are paying a percentage of that, of your net profit. So definitely keep track of all of that stuff, because whatever you bring in, like you bring home, like it's going to be in your account, you're going to have to do self-employment taxes as a percentage of that net profit. Okay, so hopefully that explains that piece. All right, then you have net loss. Ooh, this is where we don't want to be. I have definitely dealt with this in my business in the past, but it is a very tough situation to be in. This is when your total expenses exceed your revenue. This is where you come in, where you have a net loss, right? Net loss is something that once you deal with something like that, you have to get it under control. You just have to. You have to evaluate everything that's going on. Let's say your company brings in, $10,000 a month, but you have put out $11,000 in the month, right? Your expenses have come to $11,000, but you're going over what you made no money, and you're actually in the hole because you're probably using your personal credit cards now to cover all these other things. That's a major problem. So net loss is when your total expenses exceed your revenue. Okay. The third thing that I'm going to touch on is profit margin. Okay. This is essential to businesses. You need to really know how much profit you have, right? You need to know how much profit you have. How much total are you bringing in your sales, right? There are 3 different types of profit margins that you can go by. And that's gross profit margin, operating, and net. Okay? What you want to do, here's the calculation. The calculation is you divide the profit, the revenue minus costs, by the revenue. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Calculate these by dividing your profit, the revenue minus costs, by the revenue. All right? And you will find out what your profit margin is. Okay. And the final thing is cash flow. Cash flow is the money that moves in and out of your business. So I have an account that deals only with business stuff, and money comes in and out of there all the time. You always want to be in a space where there's a higher flow of income into the business than there is money going out. Now that likens you back to net profit and net loss. If you see a lot of money going out of your business, you're putting a lot of money out there, but you're not bringing in profit to offset that. This is where you're going to run into problems and you're going to end up with a net loss. So make sure that your cash flow is steady and make sure that you have higher incoming funds than you have outgoing funds, right? So if you've ever heard about positive cash flow, this is where that term comes into. So make sure cash flow in general is the movement of money going in and out of your business accounts. But you want to make sure that what's incoming is always more than what's outgoing so that you will stay in a positive cash flow. So the 4 things that we talked about today was net profit, that's your bottom line money that you're bringing in. Net loss, that's when you're exceeding your revenue. Okay, profit margin, okay, and then also cash flow. So I hope that answers those questions, because the individual was kind of asking, well, what does that all mean? So that was just a mini way of kind of breaking that down. But for the individual that sent that question in, please do check your email. And anyone that has emailed me a question, or you wanted me to kind of break down some of these terms, because they can be kind of confusing and there's a lot of information online, but sometimes people are not good with taking information in and reading all of this stuff online. Sometimes, verbally explaining it this way is how people tend to learn better. So, even though there is a lot of information online and I encourage people to Google away, I also do know that some people are not good with that listening to someone talk about it is a little bit easier for them to digest. So I am here to do that. Like I said, I do answer all emails, whether I've already covered the subject matter or not. If I have covered the subject matter, I will send you a link to the episode of which I've already covered whatever it is that you ask. But if it's something new, these are terms that I don't think I've ever covered in a podcast before. So I wanted to share that. Again, find me on social media. I am at Onyx Queen Media across all socials. Instagram is my most active, so tag me over there. Like, share, subscribe to this podcast. I so appreciate you guys for listening to this podcast every day. The numbers are growing. I think we're at 42,000 downloads now. Something like that. I would have to go back and look, but I think we're at 42,000 downloads, which kind of is crazy to me. But thank you so much for that. It's so greatly appreciated. And if you have a question or you want me to do a breakdown of this, of some other business terms or marketing terms or branding terms, those are my specialties. Send me an email at hello@onyxqueenmedia.com. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Find savings simplified. Don't search for coupon codes ever again. With one click, Honey's smart shopping assistant will automatically apply discounts to your cart in seconds. Save on all your favorite things. Easily pay less for products you're already buying online. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Join Honey for free. It takes 2 clicks to add Honey to your Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Opera browser. Find savings in seconds. While you shop, Honey will find working promo codes across the entire internet, and you save instantly. With one click, Honey will apply the best deals to your cart. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Get Honey. Download it today. Visit our link, www.tinyurl.com/ONYXHONEY. That's www.tinyurl.com/Onyx Honey. Start saving right now.